I got to start with your story.
Mm-hmm.
You come from Israel, you got into this health business and everything. How did that come about? Because everyone has a unique story of how they get into this wellness, health, medical field.
That's an interesting question because growing up, first of all, I had no idea what I'm going to do in life, and I didn't feel like life is just waiting for me to come and conquer and become super successful. No, it was actually my dream when I was a teenager was if someone could just give me like a glimpse to my life when I'm like 35, just to see that everything is going to be okay.
Right.
And I didn't mess it up colossally. So it wasn't I would say something that I was interested in necessarily from a young age. Growing up, obviously you wanna look cool and have the biceps and the abs. So I got interested in fitness when I was a teenager, and my inclination is always to kind of understand the underlying elements, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in, I studied the biology of what's happening over there in the body, and how to kind of, how to trick my body into growing muscle mass, right? Because I was a scrawny kid. That's maybe the first experience I had with health and fitness on a cellular level, on a biological level. Obviously, have engaged in martial arts and I mean, playing with friends my whole life, but that was the first time I was interested in the underlying mechanisms of that. Then I joined the military. I was in the Israeli Special Forces. I was part of a reconnaissance force within my special operations unit. Ended up heading the reconnaissance base of our unit, of the special kind of land commando, the Israeli military. And that, let me just tell you, it doesn't give you a lot of life tools or tools to kind of succeed. It doesn't teach you how to program any software or anything like that. But what it does teach you is how crucial is team building and team, communication and just working within a team and obviously building teams. So that was what I had to offer when I got out of the military. Got out when I was almost 24 years old, and most of my peers are being snagged to jobs in the tech field in Israel. Israel is called the startup nation, so that's normally what people do. That's where the money is as well. But being a contrarian, I didn't want to do what everyone else is doing, and from bouncing around what I got recruited to do and that I really liked, I started basically the first red light therapy company I think that ever existed. And the mission was very simple: taking this professional, medical laser and translating it. They just found that LEDs just exploded around the world. They found out that they can have this wavelength, that they can replace lasers basically as far as most of the therapeutic benefits. And now they had a mission on how to translate it to a consumer good, D2C, what we call direct to consumer. Yep. And that was a big challenge, because just put yourself in a situation where let's just think of any modality that goes from it could go through a paradigm shift. So I built the sales force, the sales teams, and everything around that, all the language around kind of explaining it to the end consumer. And that company got sold in the end. So that was my first experience with going full circle from something that was a type of a startup to exiting basically. And by then I was very interested in wellness. The red light therapy field, obviously back then we didn't have titles like biohacking or health optimization. It was mainly self-quantification was the big phrase back then. And one of the annoying things is that it's very hard to measure the effects of red light therapy. You can measure nitric oxide levels that are increasing because of it, but more than that, you really can't. So we had a really challenging and interesting time translating the entire thing. And I'll tell you one thing. I never had the idea that we're going to have a skincare company, or that I'm going to be engaged in beauty. Far from it. You know, I've been, again, martial arts my whole life. I was getting punched in the face as a hobby. So it wasn't my preoccupation. But when, discussing red light therapy with the end consumer, and we did a lot of that, we found out that you can go through all the pain mitigation and muscle priming and thyroid benefits that you can imagine, but what really moved the needle is when you told people their skin can look better.
Yes.
So I understood that there is a kind of a hack there to get to people to get people to have better health if you tell them they're going to look better at the end of the day. And that kind of, I think, is what you alluded to a little bit when you talked about NAD and where NAD right now is in the space. And, a lot of people are paying $700 for an NAD IV, but really what they would like to see at the end of the day is someone younger looking at them back in the mirror.
Yes.
Or at least not older. Yeah. So, we had some money in our pocket, Anastasia, my partner, my wife, and I, and we basically, we were obsessed with NAD at the time. We could afford it. Back then, it was over $1,000 per IV. And we were obsessed with it because it really made us feel, rejuvenated and full of vigor.
Mm-hmm.
But we understood that there is a huge chasm to be able to, for everyone to afford it. So actually,
Absolutely.
what we tried to do is to bypass IVs. We tried to get NAD to absorb through the skin and into your bloodstream and into your body. But what we found out, and I think this is a big discussion in and on its own, we found out that the skin, not only that it really needs it, it also really likes it. It's not going to share. We can get it to absorb into the skin, but the cells there are just going to gobble it up. So you can kind of exhaust the amount that the skin can absorb, but it's going to use all of it rather than share it with your bloodstream, if you would. So that's how we made Lemonade of the Lemons. We said, we have a great thing here, and everything kind of connects. I remembered that we were talking to people about their skin health when we were trying to get them to have this stand in front of this panel for 10-20 minutes a day, and understood, well, we have something here. Maybe we can support people's health journey through using the molecules that are the most innovative in the longevity space, and we keep doing that. But give them really what they want in the end. Tell them, this is a molecule. Yeah, you should take it orally. Yeah, you should get an IV. But also, here you go, exactly what you want. You want more NAD around your eye because you have crow's feet? Apply it right there. And by now we have 17 products because we've, as we know, this is not a silver bullet. Like, there is no silver bullet in the aging game, especially the larger and the more complex the organism is, such as ourselves. So we keep pushing the envelope.
I love that story. It parallels so much of my story, actually.
Really?
Back in 2005, so I started the company in 2004. In 2005, we started distributing a skincare laser for at-home use from Germany, from Burr. It was called the Soft Laser. And it was like one of the first ones you could buy at home that had an actual red laser diode. It wasn't even LED. The FDA, after a while, was like, you can't do that because you'll shine in your eyes and blind people. But we were even before the FDA came in, and we were doing that. And then probably a decade ago, my father and I went to visit a NAD clinic that was using NAD for recovery from addiction. And we said there are so many different applications of this beyond just drug addiction and withdrawal. It's like you're feeding the cells. You're feeding the brain in a sense. And we have so many patients at the time with Lyme disease and brain fog, cognitive dysfunction. And so we saw that, but we also realized that this is difficult for people to really get these on a regular basis, and everyone could use this. We're depleted of NAD from everything, from alcohol, stress, toxins, all these things. So we create a supplement, off of that, trying to build it in and take it in orally. But I've always said, any way you get NAD into the cells, try and do it.
Yeah.
because it's as important as oxygen to the body. When you speak with actual people who understand that, of course, oxygen, but it's used by every single cell.
I'll even argue maybe it's more important if
There you go.
if you took oxygen out of the body, you're going to survive longer than if you took NAD completely out of the body magically, obviously. So
Yes.
with NAD, you're going to be dead in 30 seconds. I think oxygen, you can, if you deprive the brain from oxygen, you can, I don't know, live 11 minutes or something. So
Right.
yeah.
David Blaine did it for like 15 or so, right?
Yeah.